8 years after the original Nintendo Switch and 4 years after the OLED model, the Nintendo Switch 2 is finally here. So the question is, should you upgrade from your OG Switch, or even from your Switch OLED? In this video, I'll break down every single difference, from the body to the display quality, to the audio improvements, to, of course, the games, to help you guys make the right decision. But before that, Spigen has sent over their entire lineup of Switch 2 accessories. And this nano pop case here adds some personality and ergonomics to your Switch 2 to really make it stand out from the crowd. Check out Spigen's Switch 2 accessories by using the links below. Alright, first things first, let's talk about the body. The Switch 2 is noticeably bigger than the original Switch. I've been using the Switch OLED for the past 4 years, which was already a nice step up in display size from the OG Switch, but the Switch 2 is just next level. After more than a week with it, going back to the OLED, let alone the OG Switch, is just impossible for me. Like, the bigger screen makes gameplay so much more immersive. It honestly feels like I'm right in the game, something neither the original nor the OLED quite nailed. Surprisingly, it doesn't feel chunkier, despite it being larger, and that's because it is exactly the same thickness. However, it does feel more premium, partially due to the extra weight, and partially thanks to some small extra improvements. For example, the power and the volume buttons are now raised, which makes them easier and nicer to press. Also, we've now got those 2 rubber feet that make it so much more usable and grippier when you're using it in kickstand mode. And speaking of tabletop mode and kickstands, remember how flimsy and just weird the original Switch's was? The OLED was a massive improvement in terms of its kickstand, with a much more sturdy metal stand and nearly infinite adjustable angles. The Switch 2 keeps the OLED's adjustable stand and basically the same angles, but with a brand new frame-shaped design that actually lets you easily route a charging cable from the new top USB-C port, as yes, we do have dual USB-C ports now, to the bottom of the kickstand. Overall, the Switch 2 does feel like a massive step up in build quality and usability from not just the Switch 1, but also the Switch OLED. Then let's talk about the JoyCons, which also got a huge upgrade. As you can probably see, they now attach magnetically, which makes snapping them on and off so much easier and faster, and you still get this satisfying click. But the improvements don't stop here. They're also significantly bigger, which makes using them and holding them so much more comfortable. Even the buttons, including the arrow keys and joysticks, are also larger. But I would say the biggest change is when it comes to the shoulder buttons, which are significantly bigger. Just take a look at this. So yeah, couch co-op Mario Kart just got so much nicer. And then the haptics have also been improved. They're noticeably stronger now, although you do have to use them in a game like the new Welcome Tour to really notice all of these haptic improvements. Now, all of these Joy-Con changes would have made them a huge upgrade over the originals already, but there's one more change that I would say is the icing on the cake, and that is mouse support. Yes, you can now turn your Joy-Cons to the side, install this optional attachment to make them way more comfortable, and you've got yourself an actual mouse. This works in the main menu as well as in games, on a desk, or even on your jeans. Now, there aren't many games that support this yet, but I did try it in the new Welcome Tour, where it actually worked incredibly well in some mini games. But I would say it worked even better in Cyberpunk, where it literally made me feel like I was playing on a PC with an actual mouse, as it was that accurate. In fact, you can actually plug in an external keyboard if you want to turn this Switch into a super tiny portable gaming PC, which is really cool. So really, the new Joy-Cons are also a massive improvement. The only downside is that Nintendo is still using the same joystick mechanism as before, meaning that Joy-Con drift may still happen, although Nintendo does offer free replacements. And also, comfort-wise, they're still not perfect, so grabbing a case like this one from our sponsor Spigen is highly recommended. Now, let's talk about the display. If you're upgrading from the original Switch, the Switch 2 screen is a massive improvement. At 7.9 inches compared to the old 6.2, it is noticeably bigger, less reflective, and it just looks great. even perfectly black when turned off, similar to the OLED. Plus, it's also much sharper at 1080p instead of 720p, meaning no more pixelation in games or menus. And surprisingly, despite still being an LCD panel, the colors are way more vibrant and punchier than before. And it is also way brighter, as you can probably tell, and also supports a variable 120Hz refresh rate as opposed to 60. Now, I haven't tried a 120fps game yet, but Cyberpunk's 40fps mode already feels noticeably smoother, something that's made possible by that variable refresh rate. So from the Switch 1, the Switch 2's display is a gigantic upgrade, but what if you're upgrading from the OLED? Well, surprisingly, the colors are almost as vibrant, something that I was not expecting to see. Not even to mention a significantly sharper screen, which makes a massive difference, both in the menus as well as in games. And black levels, while still not as good as OLED, of course, they are actually very good for an LCD display. In Hades, for example, yes, the OLED popped more, but the Switch 2 was not that far behind, and still a very enjoyable experience, especially due to its larger size. As for the brightness compared to the OLED, on paper, the Switch 2 is brighter at 450 nits as opposed to 343, but you'll only see this when you're playing an HDR game. In HDR games, which would be all Switch 1 games, I did find the OLED to be occasionally brighter. Oh, and one more thing to mention here, the display is still made out of plastic, so I highly recommend getting a screen protector day one, otherwise you may likely scratch it very easily. But then the speakers are also a major improvement on the Switch 2. Not only are they louder, but they're also noticeably clearer. Just listen to this. Which brings me to the internal storage and cards. We now get 256 gigabytes of internal storage as opposed to 32 on the original Switch and 64 on the OLED. And for me, 256 was actually enough to install every single one of my Switch 1 games on its internal storage. However, Switch 2 games are significantly larger. Cyberpunk is 59 gigabytes and Mario Kart World is 22 as opposed to just 11 that Mario Kart 8 was. Therefore, you'll need to use a microSD card, which now needs to be microSD Express. So either the official Nintendo one or any of the other ones that have this EX logo on them. And then we've got the dock. If you're coming from the OLED, you get the same ports. However, if you're coming from the original Switch dock, you do get an Ethernet port instead of that third USB-A port on the inside. But really, the main upgrade here is that the Switch 2's dock now comes with a built-in fan that allows it to run games at a 4K resolution when docked. And the difference is very noticeable. The menus are indeed sharper, and this also translates to the games. Now, very few games do run at native 4K, but even then, there are still quite some major resolution improvements that we do get with the Switch 2, not even to mention proper HDR support in supported games on the TV. Now let's talk about the software, as there are some differences here too, although not as many as I originally thought. The main menu looks almost identical, aside from more rounded corners, redesigned icons, which are all unified now, and some new sound effects. So really, for me, the main software change is the store, which is not only the proper Nintendo red color as opposed to this weird orange, but it also runs significantly more fluid. Yeah, I'm really not sure why Nintendo never fixed this slaggy mess on the Switch 1. And of course, another big software change is the new chat function. You enable this by pressing this new C button. This then brings up the voice chat menu, where you can chat with your friends and even share your gameplay. Yeah, really happy to see this feature. I'm just surprised that the Switch 1 doesn't support this at all, since it's such a basic thing to have. Also, speaking of the UI, it's just a shame that you still cannot have custom home screen wallpapers, as I think some of our own wallpapers would have looked stunning. But until then, you can still get them for your phone, tablet, and desktop for free and in 8K by checking out our app Wallpapers. Which brings me to the games. So both Switch 1 and Switch 2 games can be played on the Switch 2. But let's first start with the Switch 1 titles. Here's Breath of the Wild running on the Switch 2 compared to the Switch 1. Now, the first difference that I noticed was the loading time. It took noticeably less to load the game on the Switch 2, around 10 seconds less on average. And that was both when loading the game from scratch and also when reloading after a death. Aside from this, the game runs at 60 frames per second as opposed to 30, and this does make such a big difference. It does feel like it should have always been like this, to be honest. Not even to mention the resolution increase, as it now runs at 1080p in handheld as opposed to 720p, so everything is noticeably sharper. The rocks, the trees, all the details, yeah, literally everything in the game is noticeably more detailed, including the text in the menu. Like, the only downgrade is that you have to pay £8 for this upgrade, unless you've got the Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack subscription. And whilst you do get some extra content as well if you use the new mobile app on your phone, I do wish that they had done more, like improving the foliage density. Still, this upgrade does make me want to start Breath of the Wild all over again and experience it properly. I've also tried No Man's Sky, which unlike Breath of the Wild, does have a free Switch 2 upgrade that improves the resolution, the foliage density, and also the overall graphics. This one's a bit harder to show side by side due to the constant environmental changes, and since I didn't have a saved game already, every new game that I started had an entirely new look. However, if you do take a look at your character, you'll see that the Switch 2 version is noticeably sharper. Same goes for the text here, and also here in the main menu. If you look at your waveform focuser, it is noticeably more detailed on the Switch 2. Plus, just like in Breath of the Wild, the loading times have been much improved, even more so in No Man's Sky, with a 30-second difference when starting a new game. I then tested Super Mario Odyssey. This game never looked great on the original Switch, as it was quite low-res and just looked very blurry and fuzzy to me. Now, this has been vastly improved on the Switch too. It is significantly higher res, and that low-res shimmering in the background also seems to be gone. Oh, and if you take a look at these ropes on the balloon here, you'll see how much better the Switch 2 version really is. Although, aside from this resolution bump, there aren't any other upgrades. Even the load times, while still faster on the Switch 2, are quite similar, hence why this is a free upgrade. And this brings me to Fortnite, where the difference is massive. First off, the resolution is massively bumped from around 880p on the Switch 1 to 1224p on the Switch 2 when docked. Yeah, not quite 4K, but it does run at 60 FPS now as opposed to 30, so that alone is another huge upgrade. Plus, the foliage density is vastly improved, as well as the drawing distance. The mountain here in the Switch 1's footage is entirely gone. So yeah, Fortnite on the Switch 1 kinda looked like a low-quality smartphone footage, whereas on the Switch 2, it does feel like I'm playing on my old PS4. Not quite PS5 level of graphics, but definitely on par with the regular PS4. So for some major upgrades in Switch 1 titles, and a lot of these are also free upgrades, including some first-party Nintendo titles. Although, that being said, you're probably wondering, how well do native Switch 2 titles run? Well, there aren't many of them out there, but the biggest one is probably Mario Kart World. And I gotta say, I'm honestly not really blown away by this. Sure, the gameplay is more fun since you've now got your open world, and you also have up to 24 players now, but the graphics aren't that much better compared to Mario Kart 8. I guess the biggest graphical upgrade is the water edition, which is far more realistic now, and the resolution when docked, which is 2K now as opposed to 1080p, and 1080p in handheld as opposed to 720p. So it does look noticeably sharper, but yes, like I said, the big upgrade here is the improved gameplay. However, a Switch 2 title that truly impressed me is Cyberpunk, which not only does it run in the first place, which in itself is very impressive, but it actually runs really well. The graphics look surprisingly good in handheld, which has been my primary method of playing it, and then in dock mode, they also look really good. Sure, it is just 1080p max on both, which is a bit of a shame, especially on a large screen TV. But aside from this, it does look very good, and it is also very playable. Especially when you consider the new control options like the mouse mode, which I've really been enjoying. Now, I've noticed the fans being quite a bit louder here than in other games, also louder than in any Switch 1 game that I've played, although nowhere near as loud as any handheld gaming PC that I've tried. Also, Cyberpunk does support cross-saves, so if you already own the game on PC or any other platforms, you can literally continue from exactly where you've left off, which is really cool. And yeah, I'm also looking forward to some more AAA titles making their way onto the Switch too, like Elden Ring, which we know is coming, and a couple more will likely be coming as well. Which brings me to the battery life, probably the weakest part of the Switch 2. Like, you can even tell in this recording that my Switch 2 is dying. From my usage, which so far has been mostly Cyberpunk, I've been getting about 1 hour and 30 minutes to 1 hour and 45 minutes of battery life. Yes, this is the most intensive game that you can play, and yes, I also had a 90% battery charge limit enabled to prolong my battery life. With a full 100% charge, I would have gotten probably about 2 hours. Still, that's a far cry from my Switch OLED, which often lasted me around 4 hours in most games, so I'm getting about half the battery life from my experience. YouTuber TechRavers did a battery drain test, and he also got about half the battery life too. Even the Switch Lite lasted him longer than the Switch 2. But all in all, if you don't mind the battery life and the inferior black levels, then I think the Switch 2 is a massive upgrade, even coming from the Switch OLED, but especially the original. And I definitely think that you should upgrade. Although, if you are having some second thoughts because of the battery and the black levels, there will likely be a switch to OLED maybe about 2 to 4 years from now, if you don't mind waiting. But until then, if you have enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like, it does help out the algorithm, and also subscribe if you want to see more Switch 2 videos. We'll be doing a Switch 2 versus Steam Deck next, so do stay tuned for that. I'm Daniel, this is ZONEofTECH, and I'll see you guys in the next one. ZONEofTECH, signing out. Cheers.